So if you remember over on the lesson, the first question is, how did I arrive in California and what are the pros and cons of this type of travel? So I have some introductory paragraphs here that are going to tell me some general information. And for the sake of time in this video, I'm going to point you towards what we're going to be looking at today. So I want to know how this group of people arrived. So I'm going to look at this second paragraph here, and it says, and so it comes to the pioneer women of California. So I know that I'm specifically talking about women, and now they're in California. The dear foremothers have never been properly honored. Time and again, the gray-haired, blithe-hearted pioneers have ridden in carriages, but the women always ride their sides in primitive cabins, or crossing the plains with their little children tugging at their skirts, and a baby at the breast were in the background. In deadly dread of Indians, more for the tender lives about them than for their own, the thought of laying down their own burdens must have been rather a pleasant one. They cowered in the covering wagons that crawled across the plains, or prayed to heaven in the fearful storm about the Cape Horn, or in the fear-laden heat of the isthmus. They tell a brave tale about the pioneer women in one of the early caravans. The wagons... So there's one answer. The wagons were surrounded by Indians, and she, with her little brood, had retired to her wagon. When they lifted the canvas flaps, they saw her with her babies behind her and two great pistols across her knees. They spoke to her, but she did not answer, for her mouth was full of bullets. She had resolved to sell the lives of her babies dear. In spite of the hard conditions of life, the lack of all creature comforts, the business of childbearing and rearing went on apace. So women are still having children, no matter how difficult it is. Okay, so my first paragraph there gave me some information about how they got across. So it says they cowered the covered wagons that crawled across the plain. And they were fear-laden because they tell this grand story of how the Indians attacked them. This may or may not be true, but this article is kind of calling that into question of how brave are they, because they say they're so scared, but they keep on. So regardless of the Indian situation or Native Americans attacking them, they are definitely in canvas wagons in large caravans, and they definitely still have children, is what we learned. So we can think about how difficult it might be to be a mother and be traveling in a wagon. So we can say that women arrived in So we can think about a pro or a positive. If it's a covered wagon, it's not like they are just suffering in the elements. They are in covered wagons, so there's a little more comfort there. The positive of this type of travel: I'm going to let you fill in the blank here. And then, as opposed to riding on horse or to walking, what benefits did they get from riding in these wagons? And then let's talk about a negative. And then I'll let you fill in the sentence here. So go back over here and think about one of the positives of riding in a wagon versus another form of transportation, and then one negative. Like, what did they experience in these covered wagons? It was a target for attack, but it was also, they were in there traveling with their children. And then you're going to use one text quotation. So you're going to copy from over here, whatever you want to